Sai Muscle u ponudi Fight Stuffa, brend kojeg su odabrali britanski olimpijci. Sai Muscle Hydroflex, kralj proteina, 499 kuna. Sai Muscle Lipofenom, 350 kuna. Sai Muscle Nitromax za masu, 359 kuna. If you wanna fight, fight with style. Najbolji UFC-ov borac svih vremena, Anderson Spider Silva, 7. srpnja u Las Vegasu 11. će put braniti naslov prvaka u srednjoj kategoriji. Neporaženi izazivač Chris Weidman, nakon pobjeda nad Damianom Mayom i Markom Muñozom, ulazi u meč života sa savršenim omjerom od 9 pobjeda i bez poraza. Nakon 3 uzastopna poraza, Frankie Edgar traži odgovor na pitanje kako doći do pobjede nad Charlesom Oliverom. A još jedan zanimljiv ogled u ferolakoj kategoriji donose nam Cap Swanson i Denis Siver. UFC 162 ne propustite pogledati uživo u noći sa subote na nedjelju 7. srpnja od 4 sata ujutro samo na pay-per-view Fight Channela.
The worst storm we've ever had on this block as far as flooding was Hurricane Irene, which was the year before. And we didn't get water even in this garage. So when they said Hurricane Sandy's coming, they said this is going to be a bad one, but they said it was going to be something around something like Hurricane Irene.
The calm before the storm. My backyard. I cannot believe this. It's 3 hours before high tide even hits. That's what we're looking at, in the middle of my street.
The reason I stayed, we didn't think it was going to get in our house. No one thought it was really going to get in our house. But we had some sandbags around the garage and tarp, thinking that's going to stop the water from coming in.
It is almost up to our garage. Ridiculous.
Obviously, it got a lot worse than we could have ever imagined.
I'm inside now, it's getting kind of crazy. And this is what we're looking at. These lights go out. This is the last you'll see, and that's it. Couch is floating. Couch is floating away. As you can see, my garage in there, completely filled. Water's actually in the bathtub, and there was no water in the bathtub before we got here. This is not good.
I actually came out here when there was about 4 feet of water to try to get a pump going in the crawl space over here. I ended up getting electrocuted by the pump, and then came back inside and never went back outside again.
Jesse, I am so screwed, bro. Every one of those bins was spilt over.
We had everything stacked in bins and weighed down so we'd be good. And everything just, when the water came up, everything just got flipped over and all the bins opened up and everything got ruined. I was actually coming in and out of here trying to save stuff when the water first came to the garage. You had diapers going past my face, and we found out later that all the sewage was up. So yeah, I was swimming in sewage. Everything you can imagine you have in a house got ruined. It was a good night.
See the boat upside down, pretty much.
The next day, it was just chaos out here. I mean, there was just boats and jet skis everywhere, you know, on front lawns. We had a basketball hoop on our front lawn that came from 4 blocks down. There was people's roofs on top of other people's roofs. 3 houses were destroyed completely. Life has definitely changed for everyone down here, you know, for a long time.
Chris is a family man. He has a wife and children, and in 24 hours, he went from a normal, settled family life to one where he was essentially homeless.
7 months later, we're still not back to normal. It's been a lot longer road than that day, you know, when Hurricane Sandy hit. I've envisioned the moment where Dana White comes behind me, he's trying to fidget around and get that belt around her waist. I had Hurricane Sandy I had to deal with. Been living in my parents' basement with my daughter for a long time. This would be, you know, a dream come true for me and my family. It'd make me feel like I'm doing this for the right reason.
Last October, middleweight champion Anderson Silva, the top pound-for-pound fighter in the world, owner of a UFC record 15-fight win streak, took his third fight at 205 pounds. His first two opponents lasted less than 4.5 minutes combined.
Anderson Silva, Stephan Bonnar. Here we go!
Anderson Silva has really deceptive strength.
Então, na verdade, quando eu tava na grade, eu não empurrei ele para sair da grade. Na verdade, ele desistiu de me pressionar contra a grade para me derrubar e eu voltei para a grade.
Yeah, Anderson went back to the cage. He's standing there on the cage on purpose.
E nesse tempo, ele voltou de novo. E ele não tinha recuperado toda a energia dele para, de repente, conseguir um takedown perfeito.
He went right back. This is crazy. That shows what disdain he has for Bonner's skills.
É parte do meu estilo de luta, lutar com a guarda um pouco baixa e induzir os meus adversários a errar. Eu não faço nada para aparecer para os fãs ou coisa parecida. Eu faço o que eu treino e o que eu coloco em prática na luta é exatamente o que eu treino.
Oh, wow. Good shot.
And he generates so much power with those short punches, Joe.
O corner pediu para que eu saísse da grade, né?
I got it, it's all good.
Para manter a calma dos meus corners e a minha calma também, pedi para eles ficarem calmos, que eu sabia exatamente o que eu estava fazendo.
Anderson holding onto the arm, and he takes him down.
Quando ele levantou desequilibrado. E aí o momento que eu vi que podia dar joelhada foi onde eu apliquei o golpe.
If you tried to do that knee 100 times, it probably wouldn't land in the right place the way it did that night. And Anderson just has a tendency to be able to do that.
Looking to finish the fight right here. It is all over. Anderson Silva.
It was the first knockout loss of Stephan Bonner's 13-year career.
One more brilliant performance by the greatest martial artist of all time.
E eu fiz o que eu tinha que fazer. Eu acho que se treina 100%, o resultado é 100%.
Moving forward, Anderson will be doing a good deal of that training away from his home in Rio.
Anderson opened up a gym here in Torrance, California, basically as a private training facility for himself.
Yes, sir. Eu abri a minha escola aqui, né? É um sonho desde quando eu comecei a treinar. É o meu espaço onde eu treino com os meus amigos. Isso aqui é uma extensão da minha casa.
A facility like this is not for everyone, but then again, Anderson Silva is just not anybody. He's the best of all time, and I believe he deserves to have a training facility like this of his own.
It's expected that Anderson will eventually engage in super fights with fellow champions George St. Pierre and John Jones. But Chris Weidman has other plans.
Trust me, I talked to Chris Weidman myself. Guy looks me right in the eye and says, I'm telling you, I apologize that I'm gonna all your super fights, but I'm gonna win this fight, because if you take Anderson Silva out of the mix, the super fights are all gone. It's verbatim what the guy said to me.
Independente de ele me vencer ou não, uma super luta com o George St. Pierre é uma super luta. Não é George St. Pierre e Weidman. Ele tá chegando agora. É uma super luta. John Jones, Anderson Silva. É outro nível. Ele vai ter chances dele. Eu respeito ele como atleta, mas ele não vai estragar plano nenhum. Vai continuar sendo super luta. Então, ele foi infeliz nesse comentário. Uma pena.
The greatest fighter on the planet Earth, ladies and gentlemen, Anderson Silva.
You know, these titles, like greatest of all time, you know, he's earned that, and I have a lot of respect for that. But that's not the guy I'm going to be fighting. I'm not going to fight the greatest of all time. You know, I'm not thinking of that when I'm walking to the cage. You know, I'm not fighting the myth. I'm not fighting this aura, this mystique. I'm fighting a man who I think that my skill set is better than. And And that's really all there is to it.
Chris Weidman's a scary man, and he is the biggest threat that Anderson Silva has ever faced in his entire spectacular career.
Como eu disse, o Weidman tem as qualidades dele. Todo mundo tem uma falha, todo mundo tem uma fraqueza.
I'm confident and I have a lot of tools to beat anybody in the world.
Give it up, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Weidman!
I am completely ready to be the UFC champion.
The star continues to rise.
Najbolji UFC-ov borac svih vremena, Anderson Spider Silva, 7. srpnja u Las Vegasu 11. će put braniti naslov prvaka u srednjoj kategoriji. Neporaženi izazivač Chris Weidman, nakon pobjeda nad Damianom Mayom i Markom Muñozom, ulazi u meč života sa savršenim omjerom od 9 pobjeda i bez poraza. Nakon 3 uzastopna poraza, Frankie Edgar traži odgovor na pitanje kako doći do pobjede nad Charlesom Oliverom, a još jedan zanimljiv ogled u ferolakoj kategoriji donose nam Cap Swanson i Denis Siver. UFC 162 ne propustite pogledati uživo u noći sa subote na nedjelju 7. srpnja od 4 sata ujutro samo na pay-per-view Fight Channela. Sai Muscle u ponudi Fight Stuffa, brand kojeg su odabrali britanski olimpijci. Sai Muscle Hydroflex, kralj proteina, 499 kuna. Sai Muscle Lipofenom, 350 kuna. Sai Muscle Nitromax za masu, 359 kuna. If you wanna fight, fight with style.